Anchor, VOPOV, you finally take down the kingpin who's been a national nightmare for over a decade. You think you've won. Think again. Welcome to the gaslighting of a nation. This is the violent, bloody aftermath of El Mencho's death, and it's threatening to turn the upcoming World Cup into a global stage for cartel chaos. Anchor *, that's right. The Mexican government confirmed today that Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes, leader of the hyper-violent Jalisco New Generation Cartel, was killed in a massive military raid in the mountains of Jalisco state. The most wanted man in Mexico. Gone. The problem? His entire organization didn't get the memo. According to reports from federal security officials, at least 89 people have been killed in the last 72 hours across 5 states. We're talking blockades, burning vehicles, and targeted attacks on security forces. This isn't grief, people. This is a declaration of war. Anchor *, and here's the kicker, the timing. The World Cup kicks off in Mexico City in less than 4 months. Millions of fans, global media, the whole world watching. And now, the cartel's #1 Karen is throwing a tantrum from beyond the grave, threatening to burn the whole party down. Security analysts we spoke to say this is a calculated power grab, a message to the government and rival factions. CJNG is still here, and we're more dangerous than ever. President Sham, on screen the Mexican state has struck a definitive blow against organized crime. The operation against Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes was a success of intelligence, coordination, and bravery. We are aware of the isolated acts of violence perpetrated by criminal remnants. I want to reassure all Mexicans and our international guests that the full force of the state is deployed. The World Cup will be safe. It will be a celebration of unity. Anchor *, isolated acts. Sure, Mr. President. And my grandma's famous chili is mildly spicy. Let's break that down. The full force of the state he's talking about. That's over 7,000 troops and National Guard members deployed to hotspots just in the last 2 days, according to a Defense Ministry bulletin. Isolated doesn't look like highway blockades with torch trucks in 3 major cities. But hey, maybe that's just their version of welcoming banners for the tourists. Cut to street interview. A masked federal police officer, voice distorted. Police officer, VO they are coordinated. They are hitting communications towers, attacking patrols. It's not chaos. It's a strategy. They want to show they can create chaos anywhere, anytime. Even during the World Cup. Anchor *, a strategy. Cut to newsroom. Anchor at desk, leaning forward. On-screen graphic, behind the raid, betrayal, with a shadowy figure silhouette. Anchor *, so, the official story is a clean, surgical takedown. Intel led them right to El Mencho's mountain hideout. Bravo. Mission accomplished. But here's the POV that's starting to smell worse than a cartel's money laundering front. What if the real story isn't about finding him, but about who led them to him? And more importantly, why now? Anchor, VO investigations by this network, corroborated by 3 separate federal law enforcement sources speaking on deep background, point to a potential conspiracy behind the raid's pinpoint accuracy. The narrative of a years-long, patient investigation is getting gaslit by a new, messier truth. Anchor, VO according to a senior DEA official, the intelligence that triggered the assault wasn't from intercepted communications or drone surveillance. It was a package. Delivered anonymously to a CIA field office in Monterrey. Inside, real-time coordinates, shift change schedules for Mencho's personal security, even the architectural blueprints of the compound's tunnel network. This wasn't an investigation. It was a delivery service. A hit job with a government stamp. Anchor *, the question became, who was the delivery boy? Enter our mystery man. Or as our sources are calling him, Cucaracha. Anchor *, Cucaracha, emerged 48 hours post-raid through a back-channel encrypted line to a Mexican federal prosecutor's office. His claim. El Mencho was sold out. Not by a rival, but from within his own inner circle. A betrayal orchestrated to trigger exactly the chaos we're seeing now. A power grab disguised as a law enforcement victory. Informant, VO, filtered *, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel is a corporation. Mencho was the CEO. The board wanted a new direction. More digital, less visible. The gringos were the convenient contractors. The raid was a hostile takeover, not an arrest. Anchor *, let me translate that from cartel corporate speak. Someone high up in the CJNG decided El Mencho's old school war with every other cartel and the government was bad for business. So they cut a deal. They give the US their trophy, and in the ensuing chaos, they consolidate power, eliminate rivals under the cover of the military crackdown, and rebrand. It's not anarchy. It's a merger. Cut to, split screen. Left, U.S. Secretary of Defense at a podium. Right, Mexican Secretary of Security and Civilian Protection. Anchor asterisk, and this theory is creating a diplomatic ice age. Our sources say the cucaracha intel was shared, reluctantly, by Mexican authorities with their DEA and CIA counterparts. The reaction? Cut to, Anchor at the main desk, holding up a small, silver data drive. Anchor asterisk, so, what was on the drive? The one our cucaracha source died for. It wasn't just a hit list. It was a blueprint. And a birth certificate. Let's break it down. Graphic, the pact appears on screen, with two logos, the CJNG's old insignia and a sleek, new corporate logo. Anchor asterisk first, the pact. The cucaracha files confirm the hostile takeover theory, but with a twist. The faction that turned on El Mencho didn't just cut a deal with the Mexican government. They had a silent partner. A U.S. private military contractor called Valkyrie Solutions. Their job? Provide logistical cover, intelligence, and deniable assets for the raid. In return, Valkyrie gets exclusive, above-board security contracts for the new CJNGs, let's call them industrial logistics operations. It's not a war on drugs. It's a hostile merger and acquisition, with Uncle Sam's favorite guns for hire getting a piece of the rebrand. Cut to, surveillance photo of a man in a sharp suit, mid-40s, exiting a Zurich bank. Image is grainy but clear. Anchor asterisk, which brings us to the birth certificate. El Mencho has a son. Not one of the known, violent lieutenants fighting in the streets. A ghost. Educated in Switzerland. A financier. His name is Santiago San Guzman. And according to the drive's encrypted succession protocol, he's not just the heir. He's been the de facto CFO of the CJNG's European money laundering arm for 5 years. The old guard in the mountains. They're the bloody, distracting front. The real power, and the cartel's future, is this guy in a Brioni suit. The cartel's real target in all this chaos wasn't just consolidation. It was a seamless transition to a corporate, globally integrated structure. Graphic flash, World Cup opening ceremony, Mexico City, 72 hours. Anchor asterisk, but here's the POV that changes everything. The drive's final, most protected folder. It's not about drugs. It's about optics. And terror. The cucaracha plan has a phase 2. The cartel's real target, the one that makes the El Mencho takedown look like a pre-show, is the World Cup opening ceremony. Cut to, aerial shots of the Estadio Azteca, swarming with construction crews. Security diagrams flash on screen. Anchor asterisk, think about it. The world's eyes on Mexico City. Every head of state, celebrity, billionaire in one stadium. The ultimate stage. Our sources inside the Mexican intelligence service, who are currently having a collective panic attack, believe the attack isn't about casualties. It's about a message. A demonstration of absolute control. Anchor asterisk, so, here's the POV you didn't see on the official feeds. The World Cup opening ceremony went off without a hitch. No explosions. No gunfire. Just a lot of very nervous-looking billionaires and a security detail so thick you could taste the adrenaline. Mission accomplished, right? The crisis was averted. But at what cost? Let's break down the receipts. Anchor asterisk first, the political landscape. Obliterated. The Mexican Interior Minister and the head of the CISN intelligence service resigned for personal reasons overnight. Our sources say they're currently in a very secure, very quiet room explaining how a cartel almost turned a global sporting event into its personal propaganda reel. The U.S. ambassador. Recalled. For consultations. That's Diplo-speak for, you had one job. The cartel boardroom got a shakeup, too. With El Mencho gone and the cucaracha plan exposed, the old alliances shattered. The Sinaloa cartel, smelling blood in the water, moved in on key Jalisco Nueva Generation trafficking routes while everyone was looking at the stadium. It wasn't a war, it was a corporate takeover. A fragile, terrifying peace built on new, even less stable power lines. Anchor asterisk, and the cost. Officially, 34 dead in the unrest following the raid. Unofficially, the body count from the internal cartel purges and the silent disappearances of anyone who knew too much about Phase 2 is uncountable. A whole layer of mid-level operators, the guys who move the money and the messages, just vanished. Poof. The streets are calm because the fear is now absolute. Questioning the new order isn't just bad for business, it's a death sentence. But here's the real kicker, the unanswered question that's gonna keep every spook in the hemisphere up at night. We stopped Phase 2. We saw the plans for the stadium. But what was the message? What was the demonstration of absolute control even for? Anchor *. This clip, from an anonymous upload to a dark web forum, tells a different story. The target was never the crowd. It was a single box. A box containing a certain former U.S. National Security Advisor, now a private consultant, who was the architect of the failed cross-border task force designed to take down Mencho 3 years ago. The message wasn't, "We can cause chaos." It was, "We can reach anyone, anywhere, even when you think you're safest. We see you. And we choose not to pull the trigger, today." That's the new normal. A peace bought with that knowledge. The cartels aren't just criminal enterprises anymore, they're geopolitical actors. They gaslit an entire international security apparatus into focusing on a spectacle while they quietly rearranged the chessboard.